For part one of my consumer behavior project, I decided to cover a Louisiana Bayou themed fast food restaurant chain that's local to Texas, Tennessee, and Arkansas. And this restaurant serves fried seafood such as catfish, shrimp, and the works like that. And in addition, it also serves other Cajun and Southern themed food. And it also offers seasonal offerings like crawfish. And there's two main distinct experiences. One is ordering in person and eating at the restaurant, and then the other is ordering online for pickup or delivery, but those are pretty similar. Uh, I'll start with online. When you order online, you're able to order for pickup or delivery from a specific location. And when it comes to this ordering process, you're actually able to see a picture for every item you want that you can order. And they actually have every food item, I believe, for order on the app. Um, but in person is a different experience. You get to see the whole aesthetic that the restaurant has, which I'll dive into later. And it also allows you to buy the shirts and hat merch they have up for sale. And they show that visually in the restaurant with having the hats and shirts on display. And there's a big sensory input difference when you order in person versus online. And I would argue that in person, they use sensory marketing in a big way, especially when it comes to sight, which I'll detail last of the five senses. First of the five senses, I'd like to detail smell. I would say that the main difference for smell is that online you can't get a smell for what you're going to eat, unfortunately. But when you go in person, right when you walk through the front door, you actually smell the fried food that you'll possibly be ordering, making it seem a little more appealing. When it comes to taste, there isn't a big difference, though the one thing I would say is that if you order online, you'll probably have a worse taste experience than if you order in person, and that's mainly due to the freshness of the food, which can matter for some things like the fried catfish they sell and are known for. And that does go in a little bit into the next topic of touch, because of course if the fried food isn't fresh out of the fryer, it doesn't have necessarily the same crunch to it, which can make the texture not as good. But the main thing for touch is that in the dining location in person, they have a condiment bar which features typical seafood sauces like tartar sauce and ranch and not marinara, but a tomato sauce. And you don't really experience that if you order online as much, especially if you get it for delivery. And sound is another big aspect that is different and arguably has some sensory marketing, but mainly due to the visuals that are in the restaurant. And in the restaurant, they have blues and other country music playing in there at a reasonable volume. You can hear it, but it's not overwhelming. And you can also hear the other people's conversations. But again, the restaurant's oriented in a way where it's not too overwhelming. And when it comes to sight, I would say this is a huge asset to this fast food chain, and is way better in person than it is online, to the point where I believe it's sensory marketing, especially for getting first-time customers to come back. Because in this fast food establishment, they have a huge Bayou Louisianan theme, and if you've seen Waterboy, it's almost like the Bayou from there. That's what they try and go for. And they have a massive menu board that's Southern themed. You can order from it, and they have some pictures of items that they want to push, and those are what I say, other than the closer, are the most notable ones. But they also have a Billy Bass wall, and customers can bring their own Billy Bass fish in, and they can exchange it for a free basket of catfish, which is interesting. And they have a fisherman's wall / a fisherman liar's wall, and that one's a little funny. Local customers can basically bring in pictures of themselves fishing, and they can also potentially bring in a written account of like the biggest fish they've caught, and that will be posted on a wall in the restaurant for everyone to see, including you if you come back. And that is a huge part of their aesthetic, and that is huge because it gives a unique environment that no other fast food chain really has. It really immerses you and makes you feel like you're in Louisiana Bayou, which can get people to come back. And the one advantage that online ordering has is that you can see every item. There's a picture for every item on their app, which is very nice for getting an idea of what you're going to get. But I think it is a net negative when you compare it to the in person experience. And this fast food chain also uses the gamification concept, and that is through their punch card system, where if you buy 8 entrees, you get the ninth one for free. And this aspect is available both in the in-person experience on a physical punch card and online through a mobile punch card. Additionally, they use technology in another way as they email coupon codes and deals to customers that opt in, and that allows them to that gives them a reason to come back, especially if they have a deal. And exposure, attention, memory differences, I would say that unlike most of their competitors, I would say sight is actually the first sense that you get exposed to, take attention of, and interpret. And that is mainly just because of how much of a strength it is. The food is already good, but the decor and the aesthetic are really the main thing about this place that sets it apart. And it really immerses you. And for some, it makes the experience way better, and honestly, for some, nostalgic, especially if they grew up in the country or they grew up fishing in the bayou. And for that reason, I would say the senses of taste, smell, and touch kind of take a step back here. They aren't really the main focus of what they're trying to get you to be exposed to, be attentive to, and interpret, though there is some attempt. And that's mainly because compared to competitors, I would say that they're honestly pretty similar in those regards. Of course, when it comes to hearing, the music is kind of tethered to the visual experience. And as a result, when it comes to which environment is more convincing or better, or which environment would be more effective, I would say the in-person one, and that's for the reasons mentioned previously. The food's good, but not good enough itself to ensure brand loyalty. I would say they're pretty on par, maybe a little better than some of the head-to-head competitors that they have. And it's really the Bayou vibe that keeps people coming back. They're, like I said, they're either nostalgic or they just enjoy the experience. And I would say that also involving the community in your restaurant decor kind of helps with getting people to come back. For example, if someone sees themselves either on the Fisherman's Wall or the Billy Bass Wall, I think that is a little bit of a cool thing that person will like and will get them to come back. Or they just see that the local community has a little bit of a buy-in to the restaurant and finds that more intriguing. And you will miss that if you order only online and don't ever go into the establishment, because it's not really visible on the mobile app. You don't receive that part of the experience. And that's why that when you order online, you miss a big part of the allure, because you still get the good food, but I would say you miss half of it. You miss the idea of being in a bayou in Louisiana. And for that reason, that's why I say the in-person experience is significantly better as a consumer and more effective for the brand, because it just builds the brand up as a whole.